friends who are romantic relationships, I always find it to be really good to put them in a perspective of the 5-1 rule, where you are doing 5 good things to 1 negative thing. And that's obviously completely omitting any sort of life traumas that have gone on, any personality related issues or past life trauma or whatever. I always want to filter what I'm putting into my videos, but I've just watched the first half of the first video back. I think I'm just going to say it how I see it, because I do want to do more videos about spirituality. I consider myself a spiritual person, and as much as I think it's everyone's choice to pick and choose what they want to learn about in spirituality or what kind of comes filtered through them with it, I do want to touch on a couple of things I've seen, because I'm literally just going off the 5-1 rule now, but I am definitely a believer of past life trauma. I am still dabbling in that kind of thing, and I've heard so many people do a thing on YouTube to say they've moved from learning about loads and loads of stuff within spirituality to moving only to Jesus and seeing lots of other things as deception. But I am still at the phase of life whether I will ever change. I was brought up a Catholic, right, so I know the religious side of life, and I definitely think divine source, God, Jesus, everything is right at the top of that spiritual hierarchy, just like in pretty much every religion that it tells you about. But I also know for people that are more interested in the specifics of spirituality that there is that such thing as a spirit of religion, and often in religion there can come, I did religious studies in A-level, but that has nothing to do with anything that I'm going to say, but a lot of things about religion are to conform a group of people to the generalized idea of the spiritual hierarchy, aka God at the top. I do definitely believe that the Bible never voids. I'm a believer of that, but I also think there are many levels to come at the Bible with, and there's a reason, we are not, the people who tell the story, we're often not at their perspective. So when the Bible talks about things like Baal, when the Bible talks about things like idolatry and prostitutes and thieves and everything, they're people that exist in the world, and if you're reading the Bible, you may well be one of those people, which is why I think you have to come at life, for me being a spiritual person, you don't have to do anything. I come at life, I've literally learned a lot more about Buddhism and things like that recently as well. Well, I haven't learned about Buddhism, I've done a few Buddhist meditations, and I'm quite into Indian mantras at the moment. I find them quite good for you can just do Indian mantras for protection, Indian mantras for attractiveness, Indian mantras for distance from your enemies, and things like that, and that can just be I'm always interested to learn more ways of holistic health, to be honest, especially having mental health problems in the past, which I believe partially was induced by a system that is quite a one-way-fits-all kind of system and doesn't allow much exploration into the nooks and crannies of that sort of thing, especially if you're a late bloomer. So yeah, I mean, obviously the world that we live in isn't perfect. It's even quite in the Bible, but yeah, I definitely am a believer of past life trauma. I think the way we're all evolving to the new astrological era is through releasing a lot of past life trauma and releasing a lot of collective consciousness past life trauma that has come through world wars and slavery and things like that, just to kind of clear the collective consciousness. And I am definitely a believer of twin flames, actually. I'm a believer of karmic relationships, obviously soulmates. I think soulmates is just something more in the realms of the known within I don't know, it was been more mainstream for a longer time. I think soulmates has just been something that's been said, but I can definitely, I feel at this time I can probably just pick out someone's soulmate, not if you come up to me and say who's your soulmate, I can't do that, but if 2 soulmates come to me and they're do you think we're soulmates, I'll be yeah or no, because they might not be, but I think they have this level of vibration or something for their connection, being a soulmate or a karmic relationship or a twin flame. I think that you have a certain level of that's recognisable. Aside from that, I've gotten really into like tarot, and I don't know, tarot I've always seen as quite a logistic process, and sort of a set of cards which bring up archetypes which were once used in psychology in the 15th century or the 16th century to cure mental health issues. Just a set of archetypes that are suggested to you to personify a situation in your life. Logistically, often tarot can come that way, but also if you believe in things like the universe and sort of universal laws and sort of how everything works together for good in the universe, you could say that are the cards being put out at you there for a divine purpose or reason. If you believe, like it says in the Bible, that God's made a plan for you, that all kind of fits kind of nicely. But I also think spirituality is so specific to the person. I was even having a conversation with someone recently, my mum actually, about how she said she was reading about the law of attraction and how she wasn't sure that she was comfortable with that like level of understanding. I think it's just, I definitely think also for the older generation and just people, anyone that's moving into the new astrological era, it's difficult to adapt, especially through fear that has come through things like religion, because I was brought up a Catholic. It's difficult to break down those barriers, and I do think like having from people that I don't know if I'm going to eat my words in years to come, being very religious person in the past, but then that led me down to mental health issues anyway. I'm not saying that God isn't at the top of everything, but I also feel like knowledge can be key with life maintenance, but I also think there are things that you can do to induce negative energy and, you know, evoke negative things within yourself and your workplace or whatever. I definitely think that and I also think some people are called to religion. I've spoken in the past about spiritual narcissists. I do think some people are called to religion because they are called to do that for their purpose. They have a higher order from God to actually pray and have that connection with the divine to bring about that level of healing and peace and purpose in life. So that's one thing, because I don't think everyone is called to that. I think that's why some people do fall away from religion. I don't think it's because religion is necessarily bad, but I think it's because they're not personally divine to called to religion. They may be called to other things that are on their own life path to explore. Especially because I think within the universe as well, more and more things are sort of coming to me, that I'm coming to believe in the universe and things. Because some people refer to God as the universe, source, that sort of thing. They all kind of are seen in the same way, because I never even noticed until a good while ago that I don't think everyone feels that there is a God. Lots of people, I don't think, acknowledge God as sort of a religious figure, but simply see the world through the universe and just go about their lives in a sort of moral standpoint from a level. So that's one thing, but I do think like things like cycles will come back down to complete and things, cycles come back round to complete and stuff like that is definitely the case. I definitely believe in things like the law of attraction, law of vibration, law of assumption. I think there's parameters to it though, because I don't think you can become someone you're not, in that if you kind of wish to or have something that is not in your divine path, something that comes from something not divine and possibly from somewhere of insecurity and unnecessity that is not meant for you, and a place that is not in your divine life path. I don't think you can manifest. I mean, I don't know, I've heard all sorts of things about manifesting, but I think if I was to just be like, oh, I manifest a palace, I manifest living in Buckingham Palace, you know, that's not really going to be something that I would be able to do, I don't think, unless I was to literally become in the royal family. But obviously the point, that's just never going to happen, and that's okay. Do you know what I mean? So, but I don't think most people would do that. But I think there is a great parameter of obviously things that people can achieve at the same time. And in our day and age, we have a lot of access to a lot of things because of the internet and things like that. So there is that. You know, even like just often I've noticed as well about things like wants and needs is that often our needs can be below a level of conscious templates or subconscious templates that have been ingrained in us through our sort of life, through our past lives if you want to look at that, but generationally, through our ancestors. So yeah, I think sometimes we are not able to access our wants to the level that we desire, but also we possibly haven't reached a level of maturity to actually want the desires of the future. Often people can want the future now, or they want what they think they want in the future now. They project a bunch of social beliefs on a future self and create this whole life for yourself based on things potentially that don't come from within, and come within your life path, and therefore kind of try and strive externally for those things without the internal desire to do that. And I think that's when you can become lost. I think, but you know, there's parameters of that as well. So but yes, I'm definitely like sort of open to different holistic practices. I feel like I'm rambling now though, so I'm gonna just like cut it there, but I hope it's just a bit of joy for today, and I certainly enjoyed making the video, so yeah, thank you for listening.